It's Nolan. What's going on, y'all? It's the kid J Nolan here. Now, this video here is gonna be for all of my people that make music, all my songwriters, artists. If you're releasing music on any streaming platform, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, etc. If you're an artist interested in signing up on Tunecore, or maybe you're an artist that's already signed up on Tunecore, they've released a new policy this week for splits. All right, so they have this new thing called priority payouts, which is in tandem with splits. Now, of course, splits was something that people on Tunecore were waiting for years, right? Something that everybody was asking for, but they were not delivering. Ever since Papoose got his position with the company, they've been revamping Tunecore as a whole, rebranding, and they're becoming a lot more artist friendly, I must say. So once they introduced splits, now we have splits priority payouts. Now let's get into what this actually means. So of course, with it being called priority payouts, of course, you can kind of tell this is about priority. So with this new policy, you're able to choose the order in which your collaborators get paid due to urgency, what you might owe them, and who needs to get paid first. This grants creators the ability to allocate and distribute revenues for each track according to their preference, right? So through the splits program, self-releasing artists can now designate a specific sum for a collaborator, guaranteeing full payment before percentage-based splits are dispersed to other contributors, right? So this is like a recoupment method. So if you owe somebody a specific amount of money and they need to be paid first, like if you had somebody that fronted you some money to get your project off the ground and they're, more important at first because they need to get theirs in full before everybody else gets their cut, you can now make sure that that happens. Andrea Gleason from Tunecore, she says, by providing artists with tools to automate the financial tasks associated with releasing music, we aim to help foster a vibrant, independent creator community that fuels collaboration and experimentation while guaranteeing fair compensation for collaborators. They say that this capability not only allows self-releasing artists to recover recording costs, right? So if you put your money into record, let's say you spent $10,000, and that would be a very expensive project for an independent artist, but you could easily spend that in the studio, paying producers, whatever. You can now recover those costs ahead of collaborators getting their cut, right? So you got to make sure that you get yours back because this is the same way that the label was structured is. Make sure that you recoup your costs, then everybody gets their cut. So they say that this allows you to not only recover your recording costs ahead of collaborating, but also provides artists a mechanism to negotiate with producers. So this allows you to say, hey, I may not pay you up front for a beat, but I'll make sure that what I would have paid you for the beat gets paid off first when the money starts rolling in. So if you owe a producer 150, whatever it is, that's something that y'all can negotiate. Now, of course, you're going to have to do this with people that you personally know, people that you can negotiate with. You can't try to pull this back end type stuff on people that you're getting beats off of YouTube and not paying for the beats and then acting like you're going to pay them on the back end, because a lot of y'all are not going to go through that, and producers ain't playing that shit neither. That's why they be having their shit tagged up. Furthermore, they say, as part of Tunecore's ongoing efforts to make artists' lives easier, we're thrilled to introduce splits priority payouts and offer creatives even more ways to customize and automate their revenue splits. Priority payouts are accessible to artists enrolled in a paid unlimited plan through Tunecore's splits offering. Those using Tunecore's free new artist plan can access splits at an annual fee of $7.99 via the splits collaborator add-on. So if you don't have an unlimited plan with Tunecore, you're not going to get this priority payout feature, right? You need an unlimited plan, which I believe is $14.99. It's not crazy. It's not the worst thing that could possibly happen is you pay $15 to keep your music active on all the platforms. This is a lot more affordable than it used to be, by the way. If you decide to use the new artist plan, you still have access to splits, but your collaborators are going to have to pay $7.99 annually to make sure that Tunecore is sending their portion of the split directly to them. So they pay $8 a year just to receive royalties. Who wants to put that on the onus of your collaborators, right? That's like super inconvenient, and that's something that a lot of distributors are out here trying to do. People that aren't already signed up on the platform with an active account, they want you to pay in order to get paid. Only people I know that doesn't do that right now is Two Lost Distribution, and they're very young and very new in the game. So, there's still a lot of trust building that's going on their side. The Splits program marks Tunecore's latest offering to self-releasing artists after overhauling its pricing structure, as I stated, for indie artists last year to offer unlimited music distribution for a single annual fee. Tunecore also launched a service for artists to distribute music to social platforms like TikTok and Instagram about 2 years ago. Of course, at this point, every distributor is delivering music to TikTok and Instagram, so that's not so unique. But this is something that they did add to their company. And they're also partnered with YouTube Shorts, providing artists music so that you can add it to your shorts on YouTube and be compensated for those usages, right? This is a miniature licensing game. Now, of course, I stated that this is a way that you can reserve payments for people such as producers, but this can also go for songwriters, guest features on your songs. Say you forfeit paying, you negotiate with somebody and say, I can't pay you up front, but maybe I could pay your fee on the back end and make sure that you get yours first. The only thing that makes this tough is, I hate to say it, but artists are not the most trustworthy people. Artists are very selfish. I'm going to be completely honest, completely transparent. We be trying to get everything for the cheap. We be trying to figure out every way that we could wiggle around having to pay somebody. So just understand, somebody might tell you that they will use this feature and then effectively skip it when it comes time to actually distribute their album. So definitely tread very lightly if somebody comes to you with this. Make sure that you've worked with them before in a business scenario. Make sure that you trust their business practices and that you've seen them live in the game. You know what I mean? You understand what they juke looks like when they do it. You understand what they passing percentage completion is. All that good shit, because again, nobody wants to get stiffed out of what their fair compensation is supposed to be. Your price is your price. And this is one of the tough things that a lot of us encounter when we're collaborating with people is, how do we dictate whether we take upfront payment or we take royalty payments? Royalty payments, unfortunately, they're going to be low. There's not a lot of money in streaming. The biggest benefit to a Tunecore artist in this scenario is if you already have a high streaming count, right? If you're somebody that has a minimum of maybe, let's say 30,000 or more monthly listeners, that's a lot more appealing for somebody to take back in recoupments, right? Rather than take upfront payments or just say, I want my percentage. That makes sense to me. But if you're somebody who has not generated much money, you're somebody that you're trying to corral people together, you're trying to get them to believe in you, it's going to be a very hard sell for them to be like, oh yeah, you're going to put me in on your Tunecore priority payment. You're going to prioritize me getting paid before you prioritize yourself trying to make the money back off of this album. Most likely it's not going to happen. But like I said, if you have an investor, right, that's beside you that gave you $5,000, $10,000 up front and said, hey man, this is going to be your recording budget. I want to see you win. Just make sure you pay me back. I want to take X amount of percent on the back end, or make sure that you pay me back before you start accepting your own payments. That does make a lot of sense, because you basically got to make sure that your financier is taken care of. That also can apply to, let's say, Royalty Exchange or some of these other companies out here that will actually front you money and take a percentage on the back end. Now you can say, all right, I need this company to receive X amount of money before I get my payment. You know what I'm saying? And you can enter that information so that it's not just dependent on that company to try to go find out where you're distributing your music from, or relying on you to pay it off from your credit card or from your debit card. You know what I'm saying? This is a way that you can actually put it in through your distributor for it to take place. And it kind of makes it a seamless effort, because as soon as you start getting paid, they're taking theirs before you get yours. This is not something that's going to be useful to everybody, right? And I don't want everybody to try to get into the habit of using this. This is for people that are playing with a little bit of capital. If you're self-funding your own shit, if you're doing everything, if you got a home studio set up like what I'm sitting in right now, you're not recovering recording costs necessarily because you bought your own equipment, this might not be the best option for you. Just because it's available does not mean that you have to utilize it, and it doesn't mean that you should utilize it. There's a certain place that you need to get to before you start trying to accept money and then put yourself in debt with other people and then have to pay them out, because that can be a very tricky game. And you could find yourself, number one, in debt, right? You could find yourself having credit issues, and depending on who you fucking with, you could find yourself beat the fuck up. So just be very careful with how you use this. Tunecore, they're becoming an artist services platform where a lot of label practices are becoming common practice, or at least they're giving you the option to use some of the label practices as if you are your own company. And that's good on one end, but there's going to be people out there that try to take advantage of this because it's accessible to them. That's my assessment of the situation. Y'all let me know what y'all think of this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the post notification bell for all updates. I'll see y'all on the next one, all right? Much love, respect, y'all. Peace!